morning, Dubai. How are you doing? Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Lovin Daily, where we're talking all the top stories that everyone in Dubai has been talking about. How are you feeling on your way back into work? Start of a new week. How was your weekend? The IPL started up in Sharjah. Were you watching? The Chennai won the first match, am I right? Chennai.
Yeah.
Were you watching, guys? More to come in the next month. I think people are really excited about it. Were you watching, Chai?
I watched the second innings, the second half.
Was it a good match to start off the IPL in Dubai, in the UAE?
It was actually pretty gripping. It was like till the last over.
Gripping,
like,
the pun.
Yeah, no pun intended. Like these guys were gripping to the back. Like it was a nice game.
Yeah, and I think the buzz about the IPL this year, the fact that it's happening in the UAE with all COVID restrictions in place, is super exciting. 50 Cent was spotted in Palazzo Versace last night, so hopefully more news on what he's doing in the UAE to come this week. Also, the pedestrian footbridge opened in the marina. Have you guys been watching the construction of that over the last couple of months? It's this very kind of one of the most popular walkways, footbridge, pedestrian zones in the marina near JBR, and they've just opened it. And also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10, 12, 14, 16 pods on AIM Dubai. If you have the number, we can only see the top. So much going on in the UAE this weekend. We'll also be talking a lot of new COVID stories. And later in the show, Rich is going to be talking to us about a very inspiring, Dubai resident who swam 33 kilometers in aid of Lebanon. But first, we'll jump into our top story, which is the fact that a maximum of 10 people are permitted to attend weddings and funerals held in the UAE. So as you guys know, there are fines of 10k for those who organize social gatherings and events. While attending those, you'll get a 5k fine. But this weekend, what the government did was they actually issued detailed guidelines for weddings and funerals, because I don't know about you, but I've been getting messages from people saying how many people are allowed to attend events, gatherings, and the rules have not changed at all. And so far, 8 people have been detained separately for hosting large wedding gatherings. So I think we're going to go through it a little bit more detail, because I think, like I said, what's happening is people are still hosting them. There's been fines, and now we've seen 8 people detained over the weekend. So marriages will be restricted to first-degree relatives from both sides of the family. So 10 people only allowed at a wedding from both sides of the family. Wedding guests have to conduct a COVID-19 test 24 hours before you attend. So they're being really, really strict on keeping this number small, keeping it within the family, and also making sure you have that test before you go to the wedding. Attendees and staff members must wear a face mask at all times. A social distance of no less than 2 meters must be maintained. An isolation room must be there on site just in case if there are any suspected cases. And then also there are separate rules for funerals. So at funerals, guests will be required to wear their face masks at all times. Tools used before and during the burial must be sanitized, and pallbearers would be restricted to a maximum of 4 to 8 people. So just keep that in mind. It's interesting, as lockdown, weddings were cancelled, and now as the city opens up again, people are thinking, maybe I'll host my wedding. Would you do it, Chai, if you're going to have your wedding now? Would you do it with maximum 10 people?
It's an Indian wedding. It's not possible.
It's not possible. But it's not possible. But actually, Indian weddings, which is a good point, because they're famously massive. You invite everyone you know, right? Your neighbors.
Extended.
Everyone. Would it be a bit of a relief for you or your would-be partner or your mom or whoever does the planning to just say, okay, guys, sorry, only 10 people?
I think for my wedding, it would be, because my brother just got married earlier this year.
Yeah, he did.
So, and it was a pretty big wedding, and it was in Jan. So I think she would be very relieved if mine and my brother's wedding were like very low key, 10 guests only.
Does she watch the show?
I don't know, Mom. Are you watching?
Would she be relieved to cut it down? I know my mom, she might say she would be relieved, but I also know that she'd probably love the fuss of making and inviting everyone she knows.
Like during my brother's wedding, my mom, like, she went over the top planning and all that, and she's like, it's such a stress work and all that, but I'm sure within a heartbeat she would do it again.
Guys, talking to people who've planned your weddings yourself, would you going through COVID, would you take this as an opportunity, or is it kind of the one day in your life you've said, this is the day I want to show all my family and friends, this is who I'm choosing to spend the rest of my life with. I want to go all out and have a big celebration. What would you do? We'd love to know your thoughts.
Talking about weddings, so my friend got married this Thursday.
Okay.
And he and his wife just
in the UAE.
In UAE, he and his wife just went to the Indian consulate and signed a certificate. That's it.
So that's it.
They were meant to do a
Easy
celebration.
peasy, bish bash
like,
bosh, done.
It was done. Even his folks couldn't be here because they're stuck abroad.
Oh.
Her folks were here, luckily, but like it was just four of them. So
We're seeing these, obviously a lot of weddings happen on Zoom and things like that. I feel like the Zoom party is over. I don't want to. I've seen a sister-in-law part of her wedding on Zoom. You just want to be there with the people, but then you can't give them a hug. So it's just a very tricky time for people to make that decision.
I think Zoom weddings are overrated.
Overrated. Well, of course you can't give your best friend or your
Yeah,
brother a hug.
It's not really a wedding. It's like a Zoom call, which is just fun.
Zoom call, or you're watching over and you can't have that moment with them because they're in it.
Yeah.
But I think I have two friends who chose to get married during this time, and I actually kind of commend them for it because I think the most important thing is that they're moving on with their lives, making that decision. But it's just totally down to the couple, right? It's what you want out of the day, and yeah.
What would you do if you were in this situation?
I personally would probably just have it because that kind of extended family wedding isn't my ideal of a good time.
It's gonna happen regardless, right?
Sorry?
It's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah, I think if you put, let's say, for example, my mother, if you put her in charge of a wedding, that would happen. So this would actually take all of that away, and you couldn't. And then you don't feel bad to second cousins, third cousins that you don't invite them. It's fine.
True.
Yeah. See, this is it.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. For me, it's not a money thing. It's just
it's just like everybody wants to come for the wedding.
It's just, but then I just have the issue of international best friends abroad who I'd love to have it. To be at it. So that would be the tricky one for me. Anyway, guys, we'll move on to something very interesting. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Quarantine tracking posters will be stuck outside homes in Abu Dhabi. So this is part of curbing the spread of COVID-19. As you know, Abu Dhabi Public Health Centre are putting awareness notices at entrances of homes where people are self-quarantining as part of efforts to limit the spread of the virus and increase community awareness on physical distancing measures. So what will happen is a green poster will be set outside your home to let people know that someone within the home is under quarantine. That will be done by the authorities and is all part of new safety measures which follow stricter rules for international travellers who are wishing to visit the capital. They were also introduced at the weekend, which you may have heard of. So if you want to go to Abu Dhabi as a visitor, and you're traveling via any other airport, you still have to get that test. And then when you arrive, they're actually going to give you an electronic wristband, which you need to wear for 14 days. After 12 days, you'll take another test. And if you're still negative, then after 14 days, you can remove the wristband. So it's a very interesting measures happening in Abu Dhabi to curb the spread of COVID-19.
So this is a tracker.
That's a tracker wristband, exactly. And it's interesting. So I think these are all kind of new measures put in place to see how they roll out. But as we talked about, you get your COVID test and then you can travel, but the incubation period that it's still in your body, those wristbands could become commonplace. So I haven't seen them. I haven't seen how they work, but it'll be very interesting to see that roll out in the capital in the next couple of days, weeks.
That's interesting. At least, you can keep check because we always wonder. I had a conversation with my mom yesterday and we're like, how are we going to track them? And they said, oh, they can track them by your phone. And my mom said, what if you just leave the phone? Like some people have two phones. Just leave one phone with a tracker and take another phone.
Exactly. I think maybe that's what the UAE were looking at because obviously the Al Hosn app was something that was meant to track people if you have COVID-19. You're required, as you come into the airport, one of the conditions as you travel in for early traveller is to download that Al Hosn app. But however, like you just said, people might forget their phone, they might leave it, but wristbands placed on your wrist by the government, you're not taking that off.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But also I think the posters are really interesting. Whether or not, I think as they will be placed at different homes around Dubai, then you'll know that someone in that house is quarantining. Even for delivery people, I think it's good to have that peace of mind and then you'll know that some houses are safe and somewhere not.
Can you take deliveries during that period of time?
If you're quarantining?
Yeah.
I think so. Well, a lot of delivery services have that measure where you can actually get it dropped at the door. You'll open the door, collect it, and then the driver will stand like 3 meters away, 2 meters away, and then he'll go and collect the bag.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
I think on Talabat delivery, they all have that option. Anyway, guys, we're about to go into our third story. We'll leave you with a quick break. When we come back, we're talking about an inspiring Dubai resident who swam 33 kilometers in a swimming pool this weekend, all in aid of raising funds for Lebanon. We'll join you in 2 minutes. Rich is joining us. Really excited. Hey everyone, we're back with Richard, who was just watching the show, and he said COVID-19 is a brilliant excuse not to have to spend money on a wedding.
I did. I was reading about the Italian economy, and I just think it's very sad what's happened with weddings and all that. It's really sad. But because there's a whole industry around them, and these beautiful places in Italy are ruined. But I also think that some weddings put a lot of pressure on young couples financially, and I would, if I was in that situation, I would definitely try and get married quickly next year, so you don't have to so you save like a lot of money.
How funny if you had a girlfriend right now and she was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, so, it's never. I don't think it ever would be an easy decision.
Yeah.
These things are.
So you understand the downside of the business, but at the same time, if it was you, you'd take it as an opportunity.
Probably.
So.
Rich has joined the Zoom call, yeah?
Yeah.
Would we get
Zoom
the invite?
Weddings. You get a Zoom invite, child.
We might get a half day off work.
Oh. You get a Zoom invite.
Thanks, brother. So emotional. So we're here to talk about a Dubai resident, Martin Bond. He swam 33 kilometers, so he was meant to do it in the English Channel, but obviously with COVID restrictions, he couldn't. He was meant to do it with a lot of people. That couldn't happen, so he chose to do it alone in Republik this weekend, and you were there.
Yeah, well, Bondi, as he's known, would try Dubai and across other communities, and he's done a lot of the events here and everywhere over the years. And the events kind of showed a few things. It showed real community sense in Dubai. Throughout the day in Republik yesterday, people from all different communities came to show their support. They swam up and down the lane beside him. And the other thing is, first of all, the feat of swimming 33 kilometers is an annual event, and there's, I don't know all the regulation, but you have to kind of semi-qualify for it to be allowed to do it. You have to have the right support system. It's not easy swimming the English Channel, and any of these kind of super long endurance events. 33 kilometers, to put that into perspective, like the Ironman, which I did 2 weeks ago in Tallinn, Estonia, the swim distance is 3.8 kilometers. So
Wow.
that would be, as part of a triathlon, that would be the longest swim you would do. So so this is definitely into ultra swimming feet in one day consecutively, and so it's a huge achievement. But also when races are cancelled and when things are cancelled, someone said to me, if the Ironman was cancelled, would you go and do it on your own, like on a Saturday in Dubai anyway, just because you've trained for it?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no way, because it's just really hard, like to get into that race, into that challenge without the kind of challenge, without the kind of elements, basically. And for him to do it in a swimming pool, it's real mental strength. Like, he got into the pool at 5:30 yesterday morning. And he finished at about 5:30 or 5 o'clock yesterday evening.
I wonder what he was listening to along the way. But I love that, like you said, the community spirit, people jumped into the pool with him. I'm sure it was like on a rotation basis, and swam beside him. That must have been such huge support. You wouldn't get that on the English Channel, would you?
No, but there would be other people
There'd
with
be boats
and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a kind of a support team. But definitely, like, also some of these races you do, there's people supporting you on their side of the street and stuff like that, and also on apps. But this, he knew he was going to be on his own, so I'm sure it would have really helped that people were there.
And what's really cool is that all the funds raised, 20k, are going to different places, Lebanese Red Cross and also Gulf for Food. If you want to get onto Yalla Give and support the cause, you still can. It's still open, so head on to Yalla Give and you can support. And like I said,
24,965, and 76% of his target, and he's looking for 33,000 dirhams, which is the same as 33 kilometers.
And well done, Bondi.
Well done. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to finish it, and he did it in 1 minute 50 pace per 100,
okay.
which is faster than I would do a very short distance. Very impressive, very strong swimmer.
Well, it's just because when you say 33k into someone who's not very much into the sports, and I hear running 33k, swimming, but actually I could probably run 5k. I could probably run for like 30 minutes. I couldn't swim for more than 3, and he swam for 12 hours straight yesterday.
Yeah, we've seen
at a good pace.
Yeah, we've seen. Marcus Smith has done a lot of challenges, and he's been on some of our shows, and I think these things are inspiring. But when you put them in perspective like that, you go, I could never. But actually, it's all about conditioning. The human body is amazing, and a lot of people could maybe use this as inspiration and take on challenges of their own. and as you said, for such a good cause. I think it's amazing, really, what I've seen and noticed since, especially the kind of 4th of August, the explosion in Beirut, that so many people are finding ways in Dubai to do something, and hopefully that's felt on the ground. Hopefully the right sort of, obviously the Lebanese Red Cross is doing a really good job, and that's actually the initiative that with Go for Food that the funds are going to. But hopefully the kind of the funds are going to the right people on the ground.
Very good. Thank you, Rich. And an inspiring way to end the live, to saying we can do 33k chai if we want to.
Yeah.
We just have to PMA that thing. Okay, guys.
Yeah. Ryan, Casey, what's your challenge? What's your next challenge?
We'll get to that later. We have a gingerbread house we need to build. That's first on the list. That's the challenge. Guys, that is the Lovin Live this morning. Thank you so much, Rich. Thank you, Chai. We're back every single weekday morning. Stay safe, wash your hands, and see you then. Bye.